For those of you who are new or have never seen me before, hi, welcome. I'm April Rozzo, one of the registered dietitians with Florida Cancer Specialists and Research Institute. And I do a lot of our virtual wellness offerings. So our Lunch and Learn series, our teaching kitchens. And today, we are going to focus on the immune system and specifically, can food improve immune health? Because we see a lot of ads in the grocery stores, we see a lot of supplements touting immune boosting power. We see articles about immune superfoods. What does that mean? And do they really work? That's what we're going to get to today. So first, to start, we have to talk about what the immune system is, right? And how does it work? So the immune system is essentially a network of pathways and signals to help recognize and take action against harmful bacteria, viruses, and parasites. It is a very complex system. It is influenced and maintained by a lot of different factors versus one specific food or nutrient. Okay, that's really important to remember as we go through this whole session today. So how does it work? The immune system is made up of two different types of immunity. So first, we have innate immunity. The skin is your first line of defense, right? It creates a protective barrier that keeps pathogens from actually entering the body. But beyond that first line of defense, let's say they break through, we've got mucus in the line, in our organs, in the lining of our lungs and in our mouth. Mucus helps trap pathogens. Stomach acid can help destroy pathogens. Your sweat and tears actually contain enzymes that create antibacterial compounds, right? So your sweat and your tears are actually antibacterial. The immune system also makes cells that are specifically designed to attack foreign cells that are able to enter the body. Then we also have acquired immunity, also known as adaptive immunity. So as a system, the immune system can learn to recognize a pathogen. It can identify it later if it's reintroduced. And so acquired immunity can create antibodies, replicate targeted immune cells for a specific intruder. So once it's been introduced to a pathogen, it remembers how to fight that pathogen. And it's regulated by several different organs: the spleen, the thymus, your bone marrow, and your lymph nodes. So what causes an immune response? Antigens are substances that the body identifies as harmful or foreign. So think of antigens like allergens, such as pollen, dust, pet hair. If you have food allergies, those are considered antigens. They can cause a reaction from an overproduction of white blood cells from your immune system in people who are sensitive to those antigens. Inflammation is caused by the release of histamines. Those histamines are proteins that are produced by different immune cells, mast cells, when a pathogen attacks a healthy cell. Okay, so we get these antigens coming in or pathogens coming in. Histamine is released, that protein is released, and that causes inflammation. Inflammation is a good thing because it causes a release of fluids that help flush out those pathogens. There are also some autoimmune disorders that can cause an immune response, so not just those outside pathogens, but autoimmune disorders such as lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, where the body thinks its own cells are pathogens or foreign, and will attack those cells. There are certain things that cause a depression of the immune system. So making it so that the immune system is not able to respond appropriately to those foreign attacks, right? Immunodeficiency disorders, they can be genetic or acquired, that can depress or disable the immune system function. So think of things like AIDS, leukemia, multiple myeloma. A person with any of these conditions is much more susceptible to illness because of the weakened defenses of the immune system. Aging, as we age, organs such as bone marrow or the thymus that we just said help regulate the immune system, those organs produce fewer immune cells. And we also see decreased T cell function. That's one of those fighter cells, right? Decreased T cell function, plus an increase of chronic inflammation. So that acute, immediate inflammation that happens when the immune system is triggered, that's a good thing. We want that. But chronic inflammation that we see is not good for our bodies or our immune systems. Poor diet can also affect our immune function, micronutrient deficiencies in the diet, and also as we age, sometimes our diet changes, sometimes we absorb fewer nutrients that we eat as we age. So all of those things, poor diet, aging, smoking and excessive alcohol can suppress normal immune function. Nutrient deficiencies, obesity has been linked with chronic inflammation because the cytokines, the type of cells produced by fat cells, over time can overwhelm the immune system. We have not talked about chronic mental stress, poor sleep quality, but those things can also affect the strength of the immune system, the function of the immune system. Chronic stress can release cortisol, a hormone that suppresses the acute inflammation response that we said is a good thing. And it also can suppress white blood cell activity, so the response that the immune system gives. And adequate sleep helps repair the body. That's when the body gets to repair and build new healthy cells. So all of these things are important for healthy immune function. Do immune boosting diets work? That's the big question. We see these advertisements for immune boosting diets, immune boosting supplements. What's in them and how do they work? So remember that we said way back at the beginning that the immune system is a really complex system influenced by a lot of different factors versus just one food or one nutrient. So it's important to note that a healthy diet and healthy habits like exercise, adequate sleep, decreased stress, all those things we just talked about in the previous slide, that healthy diet in combination with healthy habits can prime the immune system. It primes the body to fight infection and disease. So it's not that good nutrition is boosting the immune strength or function. It's not a certain supplement or a certain nutrient is not able to make the immune system operate at 120%, but having good nutrition and making sure that you're getting all the nutrients you need allows the immune system to operate at its full potential, 100%, and support proper function. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everybody. Dietary patterns, the big picture of your diet quality, is more important than individual foods for offering more benefit in minimizing inflammation and promoting normal function of all the cells in the body. Dietary patterns that limit nutrient intake, such as diets with more really processed foods, kind of junk foods, fast foods, refined sugars, a lot of red meat, and not a lot of fruits and vegetables, can have a negative impact on the immune function. These diets can also decrease good bacteria in the gut. You've heard me talk about the gut microbiome. A healthy microbiome can actually promote more immune response and function. Okay, so a variety of nutrients are necessary for growth and function of immune cells. We're going to talk about a lot of those different nutrients as we move through the presentation today. And that gut microbiome, the gut flora, can be a determinant of a healthy immune response and function. High fiber diets, including fruits and vegetables and whole grains, legumes like beans, can support a healthier and more varied microbiome. So the more of these different plant foods you have in your diet, the more beneficial, healthy gut bacteria you will have in your gut. Okay. There are also things called prebiotics and probiotics. If you have been with me for any of my presentations, you've probably heard me talk about these things before. I did a whole session on the gut microbiome. Probiotics and prebiotics can be very confusing, and they get used a lot simultaneously, but they actually mean different things. So probiotics are the healthy bacteria themselves. Probiotics are live active cultures or good bacteria. Food sources of probiotics are things like yogurt with live active cultures, something called kefir or kefir. Different people pronounce it different ways. That is kind of a liquid, fermented, drinkable yogurt. Fermented foods, fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, kimchi, are good sources of probiotics, or those good bacterias. Kombucha tea that you've seen is getting very popular, or has been very popular. Miso paste, used a lot in Asian cooking from fermented soybeans. Those are all food sources, natural food sources of probiotics, or those good healthy gut bacteria. We want those in your diet. Prebiotics are different. Prebiotics are actually what feed the probiotics, okay? So probiotics are your good bacteria. Prebiotics are mostly the high fiber foods that help support those healthy bacteria in your gut. So we want both. We want both in your diet. We have found in research that the breakdown of fiber in the intestine has actually been shown to stimulate immune activity. All the more reason to have these high fiber foods in your diet. The gut actually can produce antimicrobial proteins. So remember when we said sweat and tears actually have enzymes that are antimicrobial, antibacterial? The gut can also produce antimicrobial proteins. I'm sorry, guys, this is a mouthful. We also want vitamin D in the diet. Vitamin D can help regulate those antimicrobial proteins, which help directly kill and attack pathogens. If you've been with me before, we have talked about vitamin D. We did a whole session on vitamin D. Common sources: fatty fish, egg yolks, fortified dairy, and of course, sunlight for vitamin D. Getting into some of the other key nutrients that help support immune health and immune function. Vitamin C is very important. It stimulates the formation of our antibodies and production and function of those white blood cells. You get vitamin C from citrus foods like oranges, strawberries, tomatoes, red bell peppers, papayas. Vitamin A helps maintain skin and tissue health. So think about tissue when we're talking about what we know what skin is, but what are we talking about when we say tissues? Inside your mouth, the lining inside your mouth, inside your stomach, inside your intestines, the tissues in your respiratory system. That's what vitamin A is helping to maintain to better prevent infection. Vitamin A is coming from things like carrots, sweet potatoes, broccoli, spinach, eggs, also red bell peppers. So think about vitamin A and vitamin C as coming from your yellows, your oranges, your reds, those foods, okay? Vitamin E protects cell membranes from free radical damage. So you hear those terms all the time. When we look at antioxidant foods, right? Antioxidants protect us from free radical damage. That's essentially protecting your cell membranes, those outer coatings of your cells, from damage. Good sources of vitamin E: nuts, seeds, nut butters, vegetable oils, particularly almonds and hazelnuts, or sunflower oil or safflower oil, cooking with those types of oils, okay? Zinc also is another antioxidant. It may help with wound healing and just the overall immune response. You get zinc from lean meat, chicken and turkey, seafood, dairy, but also whole grains, beans, seeds, and nuts. So we have plant sources of zinc as well as animal sources. Protein, just good old-fashioned protein, our body needs for healing and recovery of healthy cells, repairing, building new healthy cells. Protein, of course, you're going to get from your animal foods. So things like lean meat, poultry, seafood, eggs, but also we get protein from a lot of plant-based sources like beans, peas, lentils, nuts, seeds, and also soy. We mentioned in previous talks things like tofu, edamame, soy milk. Those are all sources of plant-based protein. And of course, iron makes up part of the enzymes that we need for immune cell function. Iron, the biggest source of iron is red meat. But we know, again, from previous talks, if you've been with me before, that we don't want a lot of red meat in the diet. Having a lot of red meat is actually not good for us in the long run, but it is a great source of iron. So where else can we get iron? We get it from dark leafy greens like spinach or kale. We get it from our beans, our nuts, fortified breads and cereals. It's important to note that when you're getting iron from plant-based sources, it's not as easily absorbed in the body. So if you can take those iron foods, those plant-based iron foods, like your spinach or your cereals, and pair that with vitamin C foods, which we just mentioned were things like oranges and tomatoes and strawberries and watermelon. So eating those foods in combination with your iron foods actually increases the absorption of the iron. Okay, so just good food for thought. Let's talk about COVID-19 and immune function and immune response, because obviously that has been a really important topic of conversation the last couple of years. A lot of questions have come up around COVID-19, a lot of discussion around different nutrients, supplementing different nutrients to protect against COVID-19. What are we actually seeing? So what we have found is that vitamin D deficiency, so already being deficient in vitamin D before getting COVID, may increase your susceptibility, may increase your risk of the infection. In COVID cases, we have seen that the disease itself may have caused the low vitamin D. So we're not sure. Was there a vitamin D deficiency before the infection that increased the risk? Or did having the infection cause the low vitamin D? Or both? That's a question in the research right now. What we have found is that once a person already has COVID, supplementing vitamin D, if they were admitted to the hospital and started on a vitamin D supplement, supplementing vitamin D did not improve the length of stay. It didn't shorten the length of stay in the hospital, and it didn't improve the symptoms of the disease. What we have found with vitamin D is that a deficiency in vitamin D also increases the risk of other illnesses, other infections, such as the flu. So the moral of the story with vitamin D is to make sure you're getting adequate amounts and that you're not deficient on the front end, okay? Vitamin C and zinc have also been very popular with COVID, and the results are very inconsistent as far as, are they helping? Are they not helping in improving COVID cases or preventing getting COVID? Very, very mixed results. With probiotics, a lot of people take probiotics to help with bowel issues like diarrhea. What we have found in the research is that COVID-related diarrhea did improve quicker when probiotics were taken 3 times a day for 2 weeks. A lot of people were taking elderberry supplements for COVID. There is some research that suggests that elderberry could decrease the upper respiratory symptoms, the breathing, coughing type symptoms with any infection, but there's no specific data related to COVID. So this is what we're being inundated with in the stores, right? And in advertisements. There are a plethora of supplements available touting immune boosting benefits. We've got protein blends with an immune booster. We've got echinacea, elderberry, and zinc. We've got electrolyte powders with immune boosting power. We mentioned elderberry. Now we've got vitamin C. We've got glutamine attached. We've got turmeric attached, B vitamins, D3, super greens, right? There are a lot of supplements being advertised to have those immune boosting power. And again, I just want to remind you, any of these nutrients, any of these supplements, you're not making your immune system stronger than its upper capabilities, right? So 100% versus 120%. It can only ever operate up to its full 100% potential. So these supplements are not giving you a boost, but making sure that you're getting adequate nutrients helps your immune system function at its best, okay? So that being said, let's look at some of these supplements. Now we're looking at supplements in general for your immune health, not specifically related to COVID, okay? Vitamin C and zinc. A lot of people take this trying to prevent the common cold. When they feel symptoms of the cold coming on, a lot of people will start taking these supplements. What we have seen so far in the literature is that neither of these supplements have been shown to prevent getting a cold. However, they may help shorten the symptoms. They may help shorten the duration of the cold and how bad the cold is. I don't have it up here, but taking echinacea has also been very popular for getting the cold. That data is actually opposite. So when looking at echinacea, there is inconclusive evidence on whether it helps protect against catching a cold. It has not been shown to shorten the duration or the symptoms of the cold. So kind of the opposite. Echinacea might help prevent a cold. There's inconclusive data, whereas vitamin C and zinc have not been shown to prevent catching a cold. Echinacea has not been shown to improve the symptoms of the cold, whereas vitamin C and zinc may help improve those symptoms, okay? Probiotics usually do not improve bacterial diarrhea. So we looked at COVID and we saw that the probiotics may improve COVID-related diarrhea. COVID's not a bacteria, right? It's viral. Bacterial infections that cause diarrhea, probiotics have not really been shown to help that. They might improve outcomes with respiratory infections. There is a connection between your gut flora, healthy gut flora, and respiratory symptoms and overall immune health. Turmeric, the active compound being curcumin, has been shown to have some anti-inflammatory properties, which is really important. There's a possible role in activating the immune cells. It is not bioavailable. It's hard to absorb. It's hard for your body to absorb. And that's because curcumin is rapidly metabolized and eliminated by the liver. Pairing it with black pepper or pairing it with heart-healthy fats like avocados or nuts or fatty fish may actually help the absorption. It is important to note that nutrients in excess may decrease immune function. So too much of a good thing may actually be too much and not beneficial. There are studies that show higher doses of vitamin E, so 800 units per day, did decrease inflammation markers, but it also decreased the immune response to vaccines, and so the immune function from vaccines. They actually found a lower dose of vitamin E, only 200 units per day, provided a sweet spot. So it decreased inflammatory markers while also not affecting vaccine response in immune function. So it supported the vaccine response and also improved inflammatory markers. So sometimes less is better than overdosing or mega dosing, okay? And as always, this is my caution with supplements. Quality and strength varies between brands. Supplements are unregulated. Companies are not required to prove safety or efficacy. And many supplements can actually alter the efficacy of other drugs. So it's really important to talk to your doctor about supplements. If you're deficient in something, you should talk to your doctor about supplements. You might consider a basic 1-a-day multivitamin versus large mega doses, like we said. Natural remedies are very popular for immune boosting benefits. Chicken soup, right? Lots of people say bone broth or chicken soup, good for the soul, right? There's no research to show that chicken soup speeds recovery. However, let's look at what's in chicken soup. It's easy on the stomach. It provides fluids and electrolytes. You're also getting protein, zinc, vitamin A, vitamin C, all of those nutrients that we said help support immune function. Bone broth, also very popular. It has protein. It may provide similar benefits, but in smaller quantities than actual chicken soup, because you're not getting the chicken, you're not getting the carrots, you're not getting the celery, you're not getting all those things in bone broth that you get in chicken soup. But both can be beneficial. Manuka honey is very popular. It may actually have some antibacterial and wound healing properties. It's not going to hurt, okay? So in summary, we want a diet with a lot of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, so that you're making sure that you're getting adequate amounts of all of those nutrients. Consider the Mediterranean diet. We've talked about that a lot before. Consider the use of a multivitamin mineral supplement if needed. If you know that your diet is not full of nutrients and you're not able to change your diet for whatever reason, or if specific nutrients are lacking, talk to your doctor, about a supplement. If you're in a high risk group, older, other illnesses, things that are weakening your immune system, you may benefit from some supplements. And also think about those lifestyle factors: smoking, limiting alcohol intake, regular exercise and activity, adequate sleep, stress management. We didn't talk about hand hygiene. Please wash your hands before preparing or eating food, after using the restroom, after coughing, after blowing your nose. It helps. And that being said, we have filled a full half hour. The chat box is there. The Q&A box is there. They both should be working. I know in different sessions, we've had issues with these, with the chat box functioning. They both should be up and functioning. So I am willing to stick around a few minutes extra. I know we're we're just over 12:30. But if anyone has any questions for me, please feel free to put them in the chat box or in the Q&A box. I really appreciate everybody joining us today. While I'm waiting to see if anybody has questions or puts them in the box. Next month, we're back in the kitchen. It'll be October. Fall is coming, right? For those that beautiful weather, for those of us that live in Florida. So October's Teaching Kitchen is going to be turkey chili. We're going to make a little batch of turkey chili. So make sure that you stay tuned for October. Oh, there's a question. Did we send out the summary of the 6-week seminar from earlier this year? So that is actually a different session. That's a different class. This is our general wellness series. We do offer a 6-week course twice a year, so early in the year in January or February, and then we just wrapped one that was in August and went into September. That 6-week series is specific to cancer survivorship and long-term healthy nutrition for that. So the handouts, the summary that was done in the January session, that was sent out back then. But no, if you attended the 6-week session in August, I have not sent out that summary yet. So you're not missing anything. I will be sending it out this week probably. All right, I do not have any other questions. I don't see any other questions. So I will let everybody go, and I hope that you can join me in October for some chili. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.